Okay, John, I want to go back to our first segment. We took a call from a lady who mentioned an alphabet soup of maladies that it was ADHD, OCD, depression, everything else. And then she was spending when she was feeling blue.
Yep.
To medicate. And I wanted to ask you about something because we didn't have time in that segment for me to interrupt and jump in there. But doing financial coaching for 30 years, I have run into a ton we've dealt with a lot of addicts, of course, because 100% of addicts, if they don't deal with their addiction, become broke.
Right.
It's 100%. You do not make it out of addiction unless you're broke or you stop the addiction, one of the two. Okay, the second thing I've run into a ton is legitimately diagnosed bipolar.
Yep.
Where they're manic depressive. And they haven't got their meds straightened out if they're doing meds, and they haven't gotten good counseling and coaching, and so they've accepted that this is who they are, and it's this dramatic swings back and forth, which affects every area of their life. But we see them as, in financial coaching, we see when they go manic, they spend like manic, like a maniac. That's the word, manic. Yeah. And so you spend like you're in Congress if you don't get this. But when I've talked to them, they are too many times, even here on the air, sometimes I would call. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a PhD like you, but I just have learned enough about that diagnosis and so forth because I've dealt with so many of them that they I think incorrectly accept that this is the way it is. And my pushback is that I've also met with people that were bipolar who did the work in therapy. And if they're going to do some pharmacology, then they've done the work there to get that balanced, where it's not ruling their life. But they've made the disorder manageable towards healing, versus this is just the way it is, and we're always going to have money problems because I got this.
So the way I've framed it, and I frame this with my students this way, with myself, and I look in the mirror with my friends and family. Any of those diagnostics are a context, not an excuse. So they might
ADHD,
they
OCD,
may paint a picture
bipolar.
for where you're going to lean in. That doesn't. It's not a license to that's just how I spend. Then you need to give away your debit card, right? So it may impact the severity by which you have how far you have to go to control your behavior. But it's not an excuse just to let everything roll, right? So it provides a context, but it's not an excuse to be out of control.
And it is, again, I'm a layperson. That's why I'm throwing it out here, because this is what I've always believed, because I've seen the evidence on the other side. It is not a terminal diagnosis, meaning you don't have to die from it. This is curable. To the point that you can get it to manageable, moving towards healing. I'm not saying they won't always deal with it, maybe at some level, but you can become functional.
You can, healing is the language I use. Absolutely. It's not a again, we're speaking. The bell curve's broad on these things, but most people look at that diagnostic and they say, "This is a path opened up for me.
Becomes an identity.
This is the rest of my life." That's right. It's an identity, and it's not.
Yeah, that's my problem.
It's a challenge. We all have them. Some are bigger, some are smaller. We've got them. The other day I got a bunch of genetic testing done from this doctor in North Carolina. He's incredible. I have something called the cookie jar gene, and it's like 462-91. And here's what he said. I think, and you and I may have talked about this, I think my wife's a serial killer because she can open up a bag of cookies and have one and then just put it back. Who does that?
I got a friend that says, I do a whole line of Oreos.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And here's what he told me. He said, at the genetic level, if there's an open bag, you can white knuckle your way through it. He said, your strategy for health for the rest of your life is
stay away from open bags.
Stay away. Get them out of your house. Don't have them there. And
abstinence.
So, abstinence. That's it. Don't buy them in the first place. Your wife can have one gummy worm, like somebody who.
So you have a genetic sweet tooth.
He just said, "This is good."
I really like this doctor.
He's great. He's great. But here's the thing: it's a context, not an excuse. So I can't have Oreos in the house. That's just part of it, right? When I'm out of town, my wife, man, they go crazy. They go to town because my kids don't have it either. But it's a context, not an excuse.
Yeah.
You got bipolar, you've got OCD, you've got ADHD, you've got seasons of anxiety, you've got seasons of depression. Whatever the thing is, It's a reality. It is what it is. It's a signal that something else in your life's off. And the question is, now what are you going to go do about it? Are you going to go get healing? You're going to go see a counselor. You're going to go see a doctor. What are the things you're going to go do? But it's not permission to sit.
Yeah, it's. I was dealing with a guy one time in a session, and he had a serious anger thing going on. And again, it's just showing up in the money is the only reason I'm dealing with it. I'm not qualified. But I'm like, dude, you like to stay pissed off all the time.
Yeah.
Like every time I'm with you, you're angry. And he goes, well, that's just the way it is. That's the way I am. And I'm going, well,
No,
change. Just
stop.
change. Just change.
Yeah.
Bob Newhart, right?
Yeah.
Stop it. $5, right? So it's like, just stop. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, well, it's just the way my family is. I said, your family is not responsible for you being a butthole.
Yeah.
You're just being a butthole.
Yep.
And you need to stop it.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, who are you? I said, you come in here and want to know what's going on. This is affecting your family pattern. You cannot communicate with your wife. You can't get on the same page with your money. And you get angry and you go do stuff. And you wear your anger like it's a badge of freaking honor or something. Stop it.
The great counselor Terry Real says family dysfunction rolls down family generation after generation after generation like a forest fire until one person stops and turns and stares it down and says no more.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yep, you learned that from your parents, and they learned it from their parents.
Well,
great.
And
stop.
And families will name it. I had a pastor friend of mine. He said it was had a PhD in psychology as well. And he said that you'll name the besetting sin, and then it becomes a badge of honor. Like, well, we're just passionate people. No, you all throw temper fits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like
we hold our liquor. Well, you're an alcoholic. Yeah. Congratulations, man. Well, we're all just kind of anxious.
Tolerance.
Yeah, we're just an anxious family. Well, stop. Be about healing that.
Yeah, let's break the cycle.
Yeah.
Change your family tree.
Change it.
And just like you can change your family tree with debt, and you can change your family tree with wealth, these are behavioral changes. This stuff overlaps.
How many people we have at the debt-free stage that say, we just have to keep coming together once a week and talk about our money, which meant we had to talk about our priorities and our goals and our future.
Affected our marriage.
And our marriage is better.
Yeah.
It's like, ta-da, you know what I mean?
And how many of them go, I lost weight.
Yeah,
in the process. Not because we were starving them, but because they said, I learned this thing called self-control.
Yeah.
Oh.
How many, I can't tell you how many marriage and family therapy friends I've got that would love a tool that a couple would commit to using for a year or 2 years or for the rest of their life. That was just a reconnecting tool. It's like a magnet every week or every month. A budget. Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually known several that weren't doing our stuff necessarily, but marriage therapists that they forced a couple to do a budget because it forces them to
talk.
Communicate on what's important.
If you were sitting there, you just got back from Thanksgiving, and you are your teeth are still rattling from whatever that experience was.
Your crazy family.
It can be different.
Yeah.
If you're exhausted and you're by yourself, it can be different. It's your past is your past. You got to own it. And then what comes next?
Someone turns and breaks the chains, like you said. You're quoting the author, Terry.
Yeah, Terry Real.
Yeah, you turn and they face the demon in the face and go, "That's it."
Yep. This stops with me.
And I did that. I'm like, this is the last Ramsey. It's going to be in debt.
And can we be honest about that for a second? You've got scars. You may die 5 years before Rachel and Dan do, right?
Yeah.
You faced it, and you faced the forest fire, and you got burned, you got scars.
I was in a war they weren't in.
That's right. And somebody's got to say, it stops with me.
Yeah,
right?
This is it.
This
is it. The last time.
And I want everyone listening,
here.
It can be any of you.
Yep.
Any of you can say, I'm done.
That's it. I've had it.
That's it.
I've had it. I'm not living like this
Healing
anymore.
starts today.
I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and it not only stops with me, it stops with me and everybody after me.
That's right.
I am so pissed about this, I'm done with it.
That's up.
This is how it works.